don't know if anybody will remember her, but she was hard to work for. So, anyway, I heard there was a Mr. Rass that always walked through the park and went to work at Rass's.
Rass's hardware store.
Yeah, at Harson's. And he said they was hiring at the hotel. And I said, what are they, because he always stopped and got his cigar there. He was the one that chewed him. He never smoked.
Rough.
Okay, and so anyway, I thought, and he brought me a 4-leaf clover. So I thought, well, I'll go to the hotel and see what they got. So I went up there and I was interviewed by Mr. and Mrs. Harding. They were the ones that owned it. And in the front area was a boat display. And the restaurant run on Washington Street, the long way. And I got $1 for each meal. And I had to be there at 6:15 in the morning. And I worked until lunch was over. Then I got to go home and I had to go back at 4 o'clock. So that's $3 a day plus tips, and that was a whole lot more than I was making in purchase. So, and I had to wear a uniform. It was white, and the apron had a little blue strap, so that I still got it, but I couldn't get up in the attic to get it out. But anyway, I wouldn't wear it to work. I carried it. I didn't want anybody to see me in that uniform. I walked all the way up 9th Street from the 1000 block to work and carried that uniform, and I had to rinse it out and the next morning get up and press it, and because it was cotton. And it was real long, but by the time I washed it, it was like that. I had to iron that all out. And every day I did that, and I don't remember how many days I worked. I remember Blanche Gunn was the cook, and there was a black lady that worked in the kitchen, and I don't remember anything else except that the telephone man that was bringing in a new telephone line, they were good tippers. They would leave a quarter every week. That was a bunch of money. So I saved all my tips from the time I worked there, and when I put them in the bank, never spent one bit of my tips. And I worked 2 years, and I had $652 in tips. So that's what I did in 2 years. Sometimes you get $2, and that was a whole bunch. That was more than I was making. But I got to eat, and they would fix my plate. I didn't get to fix it. So I got to eat whatever. And that was, basically, that's all I remember. I never got to go upstairs. They didn't allow that. Hubert Baldwin was the night clerk, and we would take him his breakfast before he got off work at 7. I don't know anything else.
Where was the, you talk about the kitchen, and where was the kitchen? And
Well, the dining room run all along there on Washington, and we went towards, we went south, I guess.
Okay.
You went in one door and come out the other. There was 2 doors. You never, there was only one swinging door, so there was 2 doors back in the back.
Well, there was a little building on the end down there. Was that the kitchen by chance, or that was the story?
I think the
The
kitchen,
kitchen was,
the mural was on that very back wall, the outside.
Right. Okay.
And the kitchen would have been, and that room was narrow. It wasn't the width of it, and the kitchen was next to it.
the kitchen
next
was
to it,
up
yeah.
against the front dining, that front area. Because that's where we went in, that swinging door. That's where the cook was.
Yeah.
Was there a place on that first floor for a dance or anything?
Yes, there was, because I went to one, and I can remember, I don't know if you cooked for that, but Ed and I went to something, a special program, some kind. I was really young. No, but no kidding. And yes, it was very elegant and decorated, and I'm trying to think, as you're talking, I can't think what it was, but it was something that the town gave.
Well, I went to Nancy inside Hagerton's reception down there.
Well, could that have been
I don't
it?
know, they had their reception down there.
Dad's high school prom was there.
See, there you go, there were a lot of things. I wanted to
In the
keep.
dining room on the Washington side, there was.
That's the dining room there. Well, the corner.
That front room.
So, do you remember when there were big groups there, did you work for that also? You didn't work for, it would have been at night. So I'm glad you
What years did you
remember
work there? Do you?
Well, I would have been 13 or 14.
Young.
Labor.
Yeah.
Can't use some track.
I was a freshman and sophomore. I guess I was 14, 15.
Yeah.
the white tablecloths and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm passing around a picture of the dining room now. I have
That's been like four.
one of those dining rooms. The tables. I actually have one of those original dining room tables that's in that picture there. In the file for the William Patel Hotel is a menu. I thought, now you weren't there, Colby. He was there, Shiden. And so it kind of shows menu number 2, what you got and the choice. And that doesn't say what year, although it does. That was before.
Copies were there in the third.
So this is from the 1935. So if you want to pass around and look that again. When my mom was a little girl, her great uncle Fritz Powell, he owned and operated the Capitol Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky, and they actually looked at purchasing the hotel. And my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side would have ran the hotel. She would have been the maid, and he would have been the managing of the hotel. But then he decided it wasn't feasible. So that's always been an interesting thing, because Mom says when she was a little girl, she remembers going in there and seeing the tablecloths, the white linen tablecloths. Is there any other stories that anybody would like to share that they remember about the hotel, or any comments, questions? I remember the video story.
When Major Solomon was here, we had a room in there that when I worked for him, we were in there a while.
Yeah.
And it seems, and it's been a long, that was when Lincoln Hills was first started, way back in the 70s. But there were some rooms being used by them. Because I've been in there.
You say it shut down in 72?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I do say, I think I know who the last person who stayed there was.
Was it a relative of ours?
Well, no. Believe it or not, I was, I don't know, it was one of those Main Street, Dragon Main, or what, or, no, it would have been, right before it fell in. I saw a guy, well, I know what it was, I was walking down the river with the dogs, coming back, and I saw a guy pull in front there in a truck. He got out, he walked up the fire escape on the south side to the 3rd floor, and pushed back a piece of plywood and walked in. It was like 10:30 at night. And I thought, somebody's still standing.
What'd you tell Laughlin? You tell Laughlin to get out of there? You know him, he's probably there scavenging, pirating things.
It wasn't Mark Laughlin. I don't know who he was.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if
And
it
I
wasn't.
saw him several times do that because I was walking the dog that time.
I think you'd be better off staying outside. The mold and the floors falling in, probably, the guy probably died in there.
Well, the part that fell in was the Washington house.
Yeah.
He was staying in the commercial side, which was, I think, a sounder structure. I don't know who that guy was, no idea.
Oh, me.
Bill, when you was talking about that side part that was more recently tore down, I guess this year, that little big.
Yes.
Well, now back when that was the commercial hotel, that was the kitchen dining room area. Back before they combined the two, from what I read, that part was added later, even from the original structure of the commercial hotel. Because the commercial hotel started out as 2 stories, they added a 3rd story to it. I think when they added the 3rd story is when they added that little wing on the side and a kitchen area. So we've got pictures of that.
Okay, all right.
What are the plans on the property?
I don't know.
Carolyn Barr still on it, does she?
She still owns it. She has been given an order by the city to have it cleaned up, finished. And she's approaching that deadline probably within the next, well, I think she's approaching within the next 10 days.
Okay.
So we'll see her down there. Cleaning
She
up.
started hauling dirt in last night.
Yeah. She
Last night.
was mowing the grass last night at 10 o'clock. She's typically the last second, the last tick of the clock, she will go after it.
That's right.